Hi, I'm Sonia and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this 12-hour piston feed tape clock. It's a fairly small and cheap circuit, so it should be able to fit in your survival clock tower, but if not, we can make one of these two circuits, which I'll show you later. It's also self-resetting at 6 o'clock, so when you deload the chunk and come back, it will fix itself. So here's an example of me resetting it when I sleep. This one in front of me is an old design, so ignore that one. So here it will become 6 o'clock. The standard clock here will be deactivated and a fast clock will cycle it around until the hand gets to the bottom, and then that will transmit that, stopping the fast clock until the normal circuit gets reset. So that will pull itself back up and then normal activation will start in a bit. There we go. Okay, to start off the tutorial we're going to need a 7x8 area. Unfortunately I couldn't quite compress it down to a 7x7, but if any of you can and send a video, I'll be able to update this one or link your video depending on what you want. So we need a etho hopper clock, everything normal other than these terracotta. That's just so these comparators don't get broken later. So it's 3 in from the side, 4 in from the front. And then we're going to have 64 and 61 blocks in it in total. That's just the number of ticks in one Minecraft day divided by 8, because that's the number of ticks it takes for one item to go to another hopper, and then divided by 24. So this is the whole clock. I'm just trying to do this tutorial as best as I can to make it accessible for everyone. It's a very simple circuit and these are both sticky pistons. So next we need an output from it, so we're just going to use an observer and push that into a target block, and then have 2 redstone facing out of it. So we need 2 of these because this is going to move from a circuit in the future and we don't want that to update this observer here. Next, so this whole circuit, it powers the normal rotation of the clock. So that goes into there through the target block up into here, and this is the start of what pushes the chain reaction of the clock moving. So from here we just want these 3 redstone and then this repeater on 2 delay, and then from here a sticky piston facing upwards and a standard piston facing this way. So that way this one activates first, pulling it down, this one activates second, pushing it across, ready for this circuit to push it all the way around. Oops, I forgot to grab one. Oh no, I'm messing it all up. Okay, so I'm going to do this circuit here, this part, the actual clock face, is stairs. It has to be a stair or a glass block or any transparent to redstone block, and then for the actual hand it has to be solid. So the redstone torch isn't transmitted through the stair, but it is through this, so that's how it knows whether it's 6 o'clock or not. So you just position them all so they're flat face first in this circuit shape. Okay, I've made the loop. Sorry about my S's, my voice is already dying. So next, when this gets pushed around, it needs to be detected by this observer, which pushes this down, sticky piston, but it's a 1 tick pulse, so it just goes down 1 and then next pulse it goes up 1. This changes the shape of the redstone and then causes this to push up the next leg. So we just want observer here, sticky piston, and then the target block attached to that. Actually this one has to be terracotta because otherwise it will get moved later. You need some redstone, and then just another observer and a standard piston. So now it will get pushed all the way around and up to here. So the next two are much more simple. We just need an observer and a standard piston. So like that, and then it's another sticky one. Standard piston. Same with this one up here. That, nope, that, and then standard piston. So now when this gets updated, this one will pull this down, across, this one will update, push up, this one will update, push across, and then it resets itself. So next we're going to do the torch, so it knows when it's 6 o'clock or not. So need some blocks. Actually, this one also has to be a transparent block here, otherwise it bud powers this piston down here, breaking the system. So this one doesn't matter, but this one has to be transparent. So you can just use your extra stair for that, and then just like this, and then a redstone torch here. So you can see there's no power being transmitted, but when you put a solid redstone block, it's transmitted. Oops. Okay, so next we're just going to make a little circle of hoppers. This is the circuit which speeds up the clock face when it gets to 6 o'clock, meaning that the hand can get to the detection area 6 o'clock place before, in time for the sun to not move, I guess. It's kind of hard to explain, but it just makes it go fast. So this means this circuit is stopped once it gets to the hand gets to 6 o'clock, and then you just put one item in it and that circles around. So we need an output from this, which needs to be on the terracotta block, otherwise it will be broken again. So you can see activates fairly quickly, so just fast enough that maximum speed without breaking the clock face. So next we just need stone and a sticky piston. This is for a later circuit. So this piece of rock will be pulled up or pushed down depending on the time from a daylight center, and that will allow the signal from this to go through or not. So next we just need alternating these. So we're going to have slime or honey blocks through here, so that's just to stop all these being broken. So you can see we just have repeaters, and then this becomes a 1-tick pulse through here. So we actually need a sticky piston here, and then just use a block here to save space, and some redstone. Yep. So now you can see it's going fast, and it stopped again. It's 6 o'clock. That's perfect timing. Okay, so now this piston needs to be controlled whether it's activated or not. So over here, we need to explain it on like a fully built one, otherwise it's really hard. So at daylight sensor power 7, this repeater here is activated, and then at 9 it's deactivated by removing the block that is transmitted through. So the problem with just using a daylight sensor is that it goes from 1 to 6 incredibly quickly, and then like 9, 10 and 11 each take a couple of minutes. So you have to kind of just go on what's closest. So this isn't like exactly 7 o'clock. and this isn't exactly 9 o'clock. It's just kind of random and weird. So power goes through at 7 and 8 o'clock, well, 8 on the power sensor, but then just gets deactivated at 9. So the power allows this to this fast circuit, which is what speeds up the clock, to make it back to 6 o'clock. So I'm treating power 7 and 8 as if they're 6 o'clock on the time. So this small circuit and up to here allows the clock face to go quickly until it gets to 6 o'clock here and 6 o'clock here, and then it gets deactivated once it gets to 7 o'clock. So that means the fast circuit no longer works, and the whole clock face detection at 6 o'clock doesn't make any difference. I hope that's understandable. It's kind of complex. So to start off, ooh, I thought it was above there. We just need 1 terracotta there, and then redstone on these 3. Actually, you don't need a redstone on that one. A target block above here, and then that one has a sticky piston underneath. Yep, and then you can just use honey or slime or something here, and it goes across this way. Otherwise this observer is moved. If it was just in a, oops, I've messed this up. I need a glazed terracotta there as well. So if it just went straight down, the observer would be moved as well, breaking the whole circuit. So it needs to be this weird curved shape. So that means when it's 7 o'clock, 6 or 7 o'clock in real time, or power 7 or 8, this is pushed down, and the power from this cannot be transmitted to the clock face. So that means both this one and this one is powered at the same time. So next we need to have it so it only activates at 7 or 8, because at the moment it would activate all the time. So for that we need, unfortunately this is where it gets a bit too big for the 7x7 area, but we just need a solid block. A solid block there, and another one there, and then we need 2 repeaters. That one's unnecessary down there, but you can keep it if you want. So we've got our 2 repeaters, and then it has to be, this one has to be power level 7, or 7 blocks away. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then so 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so then you just have your daylight sensor here and your line. So I choose power level 7 because that's the one that appears as soon as you wake up, which I'm treating as 6 o'clock. So at the moment it's night, so no power, which doesn't fit in with like the power level 1 being 1 o'clock obviously. So now you've got a circuit which works but isn't accurate. So like there's always a degree of random with this circuit, because you could start off the day with 1 in here and the hand be moved instantly, or you could start off with 64 and 60 in there and it take a whole much longer to move that first jump. So that's what this circuit's for. So when it becomes 6 o'clock, or yeah, when it becomes 6 o'clock, these 2 are pushed down and all the items in here move to one side. So that almost always results in them always being on one side, resulting in it turning to 7 in exactly the same time every day. There is like a 10% chance that not all of them go to one side, but it's still a massive reduction in uncertainty compared to the design we currently have here. So we take this 7 o'clock power and then just push it down through a piston, moving these two blocks on each edge of the etho hopper clock out of the way. And also, sorry about this, but that also needs to be a transparent block, otherwise the bud powering stuff, I don't really understand bud powering, to be honest, but I just found that fixed it somehow. So most of these have to be transparent blocks in terms of redstone. So it's just a standard redstone line, and then you need a solid block on here, otherwise this repeater powers up here. Then a sticky piston facing downwards, and then just a bunch of slime or honey blocks, it doesn't matter whichever is easier for you to get. My voice is dying again, oh no. And then you just make this shape. So that means if 7 o'clock, move these two out of the way and all the items will go to one side. Obviously this is a fairly laggy circuit in comparison to most things. You always have 2 clocks running. It's just the outputs which are different. No, the outputs are disabled, but the clock itself is always running. So if you've got like a really laggy area, it would probably be best not to build it here, but most bases don't have to be bothered about lag. So this is the whole circuit. I'll go to sleep and show you that they reset at exactly the same time. Hopefully, at least. Yep. So now it's doing its fast on the small clock, and then once it gets to 6 o'clock it will stop it using the power from the torch to stop the hoppers, and then after a couple of seconds this will pull up and the items will all be on one side. Yep, 64 and 61 on that side. Once this pulls up, if I've done everything right, it will instantly move across, same as this one over here, exact copy. Okay, so let's say this clock is too big for the top of your clock tower, or you want 4 sides. Now this is always going to be less accurate, so this is just the same clock face circuit repeated 4 times round, the most simple one. So you just have a line of observers, or an observer and a sticky piston attached to a bunch of slime blocks, and then a redstone block, and then you could do another one if you're, of course it messes up then, but so you just have a big chain of these going up to the top of your clock tower, where the redstone block will activate the redstone there. And then there's also this more compact, much more complicated version, which is very satisfying to watch. So I'll just show you now. Yep, so I'm just about to show you the tutorial for this, but first I'll just show this circuit is fine for like 6x6 or 9x9 clocks. Obviously with a 6x6, it's an even on the bottom, so you're either going to have your 6 o'clock here or your 6 o'clock here, which is not very nice looking, to be honest. So I recommend a 9x9 if you want a huge clock. Okay, a couple of notes before we do the clock head thing. This circuit needs a observer on top, and it doesn't need a redstone block on the top one, because every pulse it gets, it spits out the piston, slime block chain, so moves up one time, moves down one time, so it only move once every other rotation if it was just a redstone block. And then secondary, this should be optimally in the same chunk as this, because if you leave the area and this is outside the loaded area and this is inside the loaded area, then the two clocks will be like moving at different times. So you'd have to mine all these blocks around here and then place them back again, which would just be annoying. So if you can, put them on the same chunk. So for this, you want just, so I'm just going to do one face and then they get repeated the same for all four sides. So in the center, we have a dropper and then two observers coming off it, the sticky piston on that one, and then these have redstone on top. Then you have two more observers. This creates the delay, like with over there, so it gets pulled down and pushed across by this standard piston. Then for pushing it up, we have an observer pointing out this one, and then across, and then we need a redstone repeater, because otherwise this redstone would also power this pushing up bit, because we also need like the same dropper and observers here. So if this wasn't a repeater, that would mess it up. So then a sticky piston and then a stone block on top, so that just powers that, pushes it up quickly and then retracts back down. And then this is just repeated from over here, so it would have the sticky piston and then standard piston again, and then yeah, that's it. It's surprisingly simple, but it just looks a lot harder to make than it is. Yeah. Thank you for watching. If you make this build and want to show me, I'll probably link my Instagram in the description, because I'd love to see your builds. And also, if you can somehow get this to B00, that would be really cool, because he loves like building clocks. And sorry about my dying voice and the probably bad editing and overall video quality. I can't really speak for more than an hour a day, and also this is my first time recording anything. Yeah, bye.